It's time again
Yes, it is.
for opposite Saxes. We were having a pre-discussion about whether the background needs to be sharper or if it's okay if it's a little blurry. And you want it to be sharper, and I think it's okay blurry.
And I
But
say,
that's why the show is called Opposite Saxes.
well, yeah,
Because
I like it to be just right.
you like it to be sharp.
Yes, like you.
A sharp dressed
Just
man.
man.
One of our favorite oldies. Well, we're glad to have you with us again, as we are, and we mean it honestly, to have you here every week. And whether you catch us at 1 o'clock every Thursday, or you check us out on one of the multiple platforms that we are streaming on, we thank you very, very much. It means a lot to us. We've been doing this for a while. We're enjoying it. The hardest part really is coming up with ideas of what to talk about. And sometimes,
well, sometimes it is, but there are other times that
it snaps.
Yeah.
And you know what? Very often, I don't know why, but like in the middle of the night, I'll think about something and say,
me too.
That would be a good idea for a show. And then I get up in the morning and I cannot remember what that was.
And I try and have paper and pencil, and I do in the nightstand next to me. But I'm so exhausted, and the thought of getting up and writing it down.
Do you think that maybe we could ask Alexa to remember?
No.
Just say, Alexa, would you please remember this subject for a show?
Well, and
then can you call back Alexa later and say, Alexa, what was that show that I asked you to remember?
If only it would be a good idea. I think that they should think about doing that, updating that, and seeing if it'll work. But
you ask Alexa, and Alexa says, "What are you asking me? I was sleeping. What are you waking?"
And I'm always fearful that if I do decide to get up and write something down, that I'm going to wake you up.
Yeah, and then you can't fall back asleep.
Yeah. Such problems we have.
That could be a subject,
a whole other show. But we have such bad problems.
Yeah.
But this was fun. This was
your idea. You thought, we do a lot of binging and stuff, and
no, we do a lot of guilty pleasure.
Well, but binging, and that has become like a guilty pleasure that we didn't do several years ago. I think COVID is what really launched everybody into following series and on TV, and that's one guilty pleasure that you have.
So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, I know.
Did we say that?
Yes,
we did.
I think.
I don't know.
Well, you did. Well, anyway,
we're talking about guilty pleasures.
Yeah, talking about guilty pleasures, and I think binging is one of them. I remember
binging what?
Well,
there's so many binging.
Years ago, binging was a word you usually associated with eating or drinking.
Correct.
Now, if you mention to somebody about binging, they'll say, "What show?" Because
that's right.
You binge watch reality shows, you binge watch, sports. That's always been around, but there are series that are on various channels.
Yeah.
That people watch, and sometimes you sit and you watch 3 or 4 at a time. Sometimes it's one every night. We have a tendency to follow sometimes when we're having dinner at night.
Well, right now we're binge watching one of the longest
series.
Although it wasn't The Crown. That was an Outlander was long, but this one is older.
Call the Midwife.
Call the Midwife, and it's about 11 years old. So we have,
and it's 11 seasons.
11 seasons to go through.
And we're into season 7, I think.
And somebody else mentioned it on social media yesterday that they just found it too, and they're just having such a good time. But so I can just cross this off.
Check that. That's one of the things that's on our guilty pleasures list.
What's another one, dearie?
Well, there's lots of guilty pleasures that are associated with food.
Yes.
Whether it's eat in or it's takeout or it's delivery is probably a guilty pleasure that we don't really do much at all.
No, we really don't. Now, a lot of people love to take out the ice cream, the gallon or half gallon of ice cream, and then just sit down with a spoon. And that is a big guilty pleasure, I think, for everybody.
Yeah. Instead of taking it out, putting it in a bowl.
Now, if you gave me popcorn,
Well,
That to me is a good guilty pleasure.
yeah, and the popcorn that we like is microwave.
Yeah.
So you just put it in there for, a couple of minutes. You got a bag of popcorn, and if you feel like you want to have another one, you have another one. That's that's a guilty pleasure. Because maybe the broader sense of that guilty pleasure is, have we become a society that you can't just sit in a chair and watch a movie or so without having something to snack on or to eat or to drink? Even even the movie theaters now.
Well, the new movie theaters where you're sitting in lazy boys and they have waiters and
And you
waitresses
push
coming
a
up
button and
to
you
you.
say,
Makes it easy.
refill my drink or
Makes
bring
it
me some
very
more
easy.
popcorn or some candy
Yeah.
or a sandwich
Yeah.
or whatever. That's a guilty pleasure too, along with the reclining seats and even the heated
That's the best.
now,
especially in the
now,
wintertime.
button. So guilty pleasures, yeah. People are not going to the old theaters when they find out that for the same bucks they could go to a theater that
Mhm.
is like their lounge chair at home.
Sleeping in late. Talking about lounging, sleeping in late
Sleeping late,
could
that
be a guilty pleasure.
yeah, especially if you're working. Good.
And something that you can do rather well, procrastinating can be a guilty
Me?
pleasure.
Procrastinate? Put things off for another day? Yeah, not me. Guilty pleasure. Yeah, I'm guilty.
Yep, cross those off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's another one?
What's the latest one? Is washing the windows.
Well, that's not a
pretty-
guilty pleasure. Washing windows. Sorry. I would agree with you
Now
on
that-
that one.
Now that's
not a
another
good
guilty
one.
pleasure of yours,
No, that's
is picking up the phone instead of, having somebody else do it. That's a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. We do it with a landscaper.
well, we do
I
it
don't-
because
I
we
don't-
have to. We
I don't cut the grass anymore.
There
We have
are
somebody that comes
certain
and cuts
things
grass.
we can't do, dear.
But it's a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose if I still had my lawnmower, I probably could get out there and do it.
Heaven forbid.
But
what about scrolling social media?
yeah,
Instagram, TikTok,
Well,
Facebook, anything.
just spending time on the computer, whether it's
Mhm.
answering emails, generating emails.
Well, but that
you
could
do
be
a
work
lot-
related.
Yeah, you do a lot
Wow.
of research.
But
on
that's
stuff.
not a guilty, that's not a pleasure all the time of mine.
Sometimes it is, because if you want to look for a product, you will sometimes spend
It's
a
more,
day or more trying to find out the reviews on which brand is the
that's
best
not
one.
a pleasure necessarily. That's something I feel I have to do. But a guilty pleasure is like watching my great nephew on Instagram or a grandson on Instagram, Facebook. I love that. Checking up on the latest housewives, the Real Housewives, like celebrity, checking out celebrities on Facebook or Instagram.
That is a guilty pleasure that I do not have.
Well, we know
and
that.
I do not want.
No, it's not for everybody.
The Real Housewives. What was the first one? Was the Real Housewives of New York or the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Then there was the Real Housewives of LA.
They're all over.
Now there's the Real Housewives of Dubai.
Oh boy.
There's.
I did watch that.
Did you?
Whoa. I just couldn't get into it because I don't see myself there. I just can't relate to it.
Yeah,
I can't relate to any of that.
I'm not exactly sure why people feel it's
It's fun.
self-absorbing to watch how other people wallow in their opulence.
Well, it can be interesting. It can be fun. but it
Especially
just
when
depends.
sometimes on some of those shows, because the camera is rolling, all of a sudden it's like a cat fight. They start getting at each other's throats, and I think, are they really the real housewives of that city when they argue and
Sometimes
get
I
at
think
each
that's
other?
made for TV.
Well,
I
yeah.
really do. I really do.
Yeah, but I guess the guilty pleasure is that so many hundreds and thousands and almost millions of people will follow that.
Okay. as long as you're on TV, what about
Okay.
watching your favorite children's movies on TV?
Well,
Like when we were in Chicago with our daughter and you guys ended up watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory together.
oh,
She loves that and
yeah.
you enjoyed it.
Well, you are not a real fan of watching a movie a second or third time.
No,
And
I'm
I don't
not.
know, Jeremy probably is more like you.
Mhm.
If he sees it once,
Yeah.
fine, maybe twice. Jory, I could go visit Jory and we could spend the whole weekend
I
watching
know.
Animal House and
Right.
the Blues Brothers and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and watch those over and over and over again.
You know which one though I would watch over and over again?
Well, Pretty Woman, you've seen
I do like
several
Pretty
times.
Woman. And but it's not a movie.
Pretty Woman is a movie.
No, but what
Oh,
I'm thinking of as guilty pleasures, I love watching reruns of Sesame Street. Because I remember our kids and I remember the songs they would sing and the alphabets. And
well, and
I
also
just get a kick. I love Sesame Street.
there was 3-2-1 Contact.
Yeah, but there's something about
And
Sesame Street.
yeah,
Takes me back. Takes me back. I'm reliving my
see, but
young
you
adulthood.
can even relive that again. You can go on one of the streaming
Yes. Yes.
platforms and everything. You
Yes.
could start with the first
Yes.
episode of Sesame Street and it
Yeah,
ran
and
for
go
what,
through
40 years or something, or
well,
it's
yeah,
still
forget that.
still on.
What about, well, we don't do it, but other people do, having a glass of wine during the week. So let's say you're coming home from work. You have a sit down, you have a glass
Guilty
of wine.
pleasure. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure. My aunt was that
Right.
way. My aunt had to have at least one glass of wine
Mhm.
every evening,
Mhm.
and sometimes she would have it before, and then she would have the same glass of wine or maybe a different
Mhm.
wine with her dinner.
Dinner, yeah.
She
Wine was usually
an
dinner. She did
aficionado.
the vodka before.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like she was a real
And
alcoholic, but she
no,
wasn't at
and
all.
my father was a Scotch
Scotch
drinker.
drinker.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what's good, which is a guilty pleasure of yours. This is a no-brainer. Belting out songs in the car, singing
Oh.
along in the car.
Yeah, that goes back from my music days
Yeah.
with the band.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
interesting thing
Yeah.
about my guilty pleasure is I won't sing the lead.
No, you sing harmony.
I sing the harmonies.
Mhm.
And when a song is playing by the original
Mhm.
artist, if I had a harmony part or I knew the harmony part, I sing the harmony part.
Right. You do.
I do that.
And another one of yours, taking a nap.
That's gotten to be a new guilty pleasure. and it usually throws me off kilter if I don't get a little bit of a nap, whether it's just
Mhm.
sitting in a chair and nodding off
Mhm.
for a little bit,
You
or
just need a little
just
pick
lying
me up.
down, taking
Yeah.
a couple hours. You
Yeah.
know, it's the Spaniard in me.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Oh, we should be living in Spain then, or Italy.
I know. Have a siesta every afternoon.
What about one of mine is, especially on a rainy day or a very, very cold day, staying in my pajamas or nightgown all day. I love that.
Well, that's what a lot of people like to do when they go on a vacation. If they go to a resort where it's a all inclusive, relaxing resort, not a place like when you go and stay at Disney World,
Oh,
where you feel like you
right.
got to get up and go all day long.
No, but I mean,
going and just being by the seashore and just listening to the waves.
Yeah, that's nice.
And
Very
just
nice.
relaxing, staying in your pajamas,
But-
ordering room service.
Yeah, or just staying home in my pajamas and watching Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Just sharing,
Yeah.
in other words, multitasking at guilty pleasures.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what also could be a guilty pleasure for some people when they're not working?
When they're not working.
Yeah.
What?
Or maybe when they're working. Not showering. Not doing the little hair stuff, shampoo, the deodorant, all that kind of jazz. Just letting it go for a day.
But the reverse is true too. A guilty pleasure. Some people get into a shower and will spend a half hour or an hour in the shower.
That's
because
very
they
true.
just enjoy the
Very
water.
true.
They enjoy the you know.
Very true. That's very true. Yeah.
There are a lot of people, the guilty pleasure is exercising.
Your sister, yeah, would be
They
one of
do it
those.
a lot,
Yeah.
do it on a regular
Right,
basis.
right, right.
Our friend Brandon,
Mhm,
his day is not complete unless he gets up at the crack of
Mhm.
dawn and goes out for a run, whether it's a short run or a little longer run,
mhm.
but it's like a part of his day. One of my guilty pleasures is my cell phone. I'm a
Oh,
I'm a
yes.
game junkie.
That's true. You're,
I
yes, you are. And I am
especially
getting towards it, but
yeah,
not quite.
especially like solitaire and things like that. I
Yeah.
play solitaire and Sudoku every day. I don't almost let a day go by that I don't do it. It's just that's my guilty
Well, but,
pleasure.
and that's good for you. So that's wonderful.
Brain salad.
Yeah, it's good.
So
And the other one that we are guilty of, although
it's just we or you or I
you and I, you
Oh.
and me,
together.
yeah. Ordering food for dinner.
Yeah.
I would say
although-
delivery, but you insist on going to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not a delivery person. You know what? I think as long as I am physically capable of getting in the car and driving over and picking it up, I'll do it. I mean, we have a neighbor in our neighborhood that she must get delivery 3 times a day. She'll
Not food.
food. We have food.
Hmm.
She always the pizza delivery places come almost every day. She's got young kids and so there's pizza I think delivered almost every day. Then you get stuff from the grocery store. She
Well,
gets
that's
her
different. She
groceries
gets her
delivered.
groceries. That's
And she also drives a big SUV so she can go pick up all that stuff. But she gets a lot of deliveries
that's her guilty
at her
pleasure.
house. Yeah. And look, places like DoorDash and all of
Mhm.
those
They make it
services,
easy.
they're the ones that said, you know what, let's create
Right.
a reason for people to have another guilty pleasure.
That's right.
And I mean, I will say I do that with like household goods, like toilet
Yeah,
paper
you
and
do.
paper towels
Rather
and laundry detergents, rather than going and picking up those bulky
bulky
and heavy
items.
items and everything, just have them delivered right to your
And
door.
I don't begrudge you for that. I agree. It's yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure.
And you're entitled.
So are you.
Oh.
You're a guilty pleasure.
Oh, so sweet. I'll keep you around for another 48 years.
Huh?
I'll keep you around for another 48. Are we at 48?
Another 48 years. Are you kidding? Talk about a guilty pleasure. Wow. 40, yeah.
Yeah,
We're going on
that's a long
40,
time.
going on 49.
I know.
There's been lots of guilty pleasures
49.
along the way there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, one of our guilty pleasures is being here every week and we're glad that you join us. And think about some of your guilty pleasures and how much you enjoy them. And then think about us and think about how much you enjoy us. Or
We hope you do.
Or if we've even made it on your
List.
guilty pleasure list. Anyway, we'll be here again next Thursday at 1:00 and hope you will be too.
Yep.
Bye.
See y'all.